And our conversation with our friends from the League of Women Voters of Indiana County, brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Kay Smith, Cindy Rogers on the line with us this morning. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning, Todd.
Oh, you did that in harmony again. You do that every single time.
Well, and we're not even beside each other.
How about that? Hey, the League of Women Voters, of course, very active and needs to be in this particular year because this is an election year unlike any other. The pandemic has forced changes in the way we hold elections. That's one thing. But just the whole election process is evolving in Pennsylvania and around the nation. And you want to get some education out there. I was reading your latest newsletter. There's a lot for people to consider with this election this year, isn't there?
Yes. And thank you for mentioning that key word, education. I think it's about educating our voters. And I'd just like to start it off by saying our mission statement for the League is empowering voters, defending democracy. And our vision is we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the educational efforts the League is putting forth now?
Okay, we have some mail-in voting, which has good safeguards, and mail-in voting gives voters the choice of when, where, and how to vote securely. Mm-hmm. And we are fortunate that we may continue to vote in person or, if preferred, vote by mail. And so we have the safeguards that we have in place are each mail-in ballot includes a barcode so that only one ballot per voter can be counted. This barcode is unique and can be tracked by you and our county election officials. And the website is the Votes, PA in capital letters, .com website will provide you with the date your ballot is received and its status, i.e. the vote recorded. Mm-hmm. And here's the important thing, too. The signature on your mail-in ballot must match your voting record signature, the same as in-person voting on Election Day. And then here is some new rules. At this time, there will be no lockbox at the courthouse where voters can drop off their completed ballot. Ballots must be taken inside the courthouse and delivered to the voter registration office by 8 p.m. on November 3rd, Election Day. Mm-hmm. And then 2 more points. If a voter completes a ballot but cannot mail it or deliver it to the courthouse, the voter will need to go to their polling place to surrender the ballot and vote in person. And also, if voters lose their mail-in ballot, they can go to the polling place and vote on a provisional ballot.
Okay.
And last, a very important point, if you have questions, please contact Miss Robin Mariai, who is the Chief Clerk of Indiana County Election Office, or Miss Deborah Streams, who's the Director of Voter Registration at the Indiana County Election Office. And they're both in the courthouse. So call the courthouse and ask for Robin Mariai or Deborah Streams. They're very wonderful people to talk with and really on top of their game.
Yeah, I know that you, Kay, talked with Robin in particular about a couple of issues having to do with mail-in voting. And one of the points that was stressed by Robin was folks need to be a little bit patient if they're doing mail-in voting in terms of making their application and then actually getting their ballot. It is as wonderful and as convenient as our society is becoming and as adaptable to electronic means of doing things. Sometimes we rely upon the mails, and sometimes it takes a while for things to happen. So folks shouldn't panic if things don't come right away.
Right.
I have some dates that are important for the election also, Todd. Mm-hmm. The deadlines for the last day to register to vote is October 19th. It's a ways away, but mark your calendars because those are important dates. Mm-hmm. And then the last day to apply for the mail-in or absentee ballot is October 27th before 5 p.m. So I know that I know that the commissioners talked about the voting a little bit previously today, but I think it's good to reiterate. And folks, you ask about the education that the League is doing, and that's one of the most important things. We want to educate people about the voting process, because I know there's a lot of people scared about the mail-in voting, and is it going to be accurate? Is it going to be counted? So that's why we wanted to go over those safeguards. And one of the other things that we really want to educate folks about is that we really are trying to encourage young voters to register. And it's thought that citizens that begin to vote at the age of 18 will likely become, quote, super voters, because they're probably going to vote in all subsequent elections. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really, really important for our youth to get registered to vote and to vote. A lot of times they register, but then they don't go vote. So we really want to try to encourage that.
Yeah, Cindy, I know that you served on a League of Women Voters committee that investigated some of the issues with mail-in voters and mail-in voting safety, and pretty satisfied with the way it happened in Indiana County and overall, weren't you?
Yes, and I mean, I did my mail-in vote ballot, and the other thing to remember is as soon as you get it, you can send it in. You don't have to wait. You can send it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could vote now.
Right.
if you get your ballot in time, and those are very important things. Now, in terms of events that the League of Women Voters does, of course, every fall we look forward to the League of Women Voters having their candidates night, and there's still time for planning for that. You never know with the pandemic what we will be allowed and not be allowed to do, but your ongoing efforts, Kay, are going to be very important for the League and for voters as a whole in order to understand what voting is all about.
Correct.
That's why we wanted to come on today, just to talk about it a little bit more and really emphasize some of the safety things in place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about the 2020 census too, as well.
This is Indiana County Counts Day.
Yes.
We heard that this morning on your show.
Yes, yes. And so I want to reiterate again, if you have not already responded, please spend a few minutes online today to complete the census at 2020census.gov. Mm-hmm. The 2020 census will help you determine how federal funds will be allocated by federal, state, and local lawmakers every year for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. The census will also determine the number of seats each state holds in the U.S. House of Representatives. So please be counted, because people say, oh, I don't matter, but I've heard where some districts or some regions have fell 20 or 10 people short, and so that doesn't put them in the next status or the next whatever word one wants to use to get more money. Yeah. And so it's very important.
Yeah, and of course, redistricting is all a part of this as well, because that census count is going to not only determine, what will be the makeup of Congress in terms of its, how many representatives you have from a particular state, but then that redraws the whole district map as it did in the last cycle.
Right, and redistricting has been a very strong issue as well in the past few years.
Part of our educational efforts, we have a lot of information on our website, and if people go to indiana.palwv.org, that's our website, they can find all kinds of voter resources. If you go to the Voter Information Services tab, there's a lot of really good places you can go to. The votespa.com, as Kay mentioned earlier, is an excellent resource, but there's a whole lot of resources listed there, as well as a lot of other information that people can look up about all kinds of issues related to voting and a lot of other issues.
Yeah.
We have children advocacy groups and environmental issues, so it's a good place to go for resources. And I wanted to mention one other thing. Speaking of environmental issues, our environmental committee got involved with a Bags to Benches project, mm-hmm. where we're collecting plastic and we turn it in, and Trex company sends us a bench. And I'm happy to say that we just topped 500 pounds of cellophane-type plastics. There's bins around town. Mostly the one that's out right now is at the Y. Some of the other places have closed. Hopefully we'll be able to get the one outside the Borough building back out. But the one at the Y is still there. But we've been collecting it, and people have been dropping it off at my house. And so we've actually gotten over 500 pounds. So we've met our goal. But we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to do it on the second round. So all that plastic is not going in a landfill. It's going in to make a bench that we're going to donate to the community somewhere.
Yeah. And the type of plastics that you're talking about are the things that we're getting at the grocery store, are bread bags, or grocery bags themselves, those sorts of things, and they're easy to collect.
The things that cover your paper towels when you get a big group of paper towels or toilet paper or bubble wrap,
or
a bag, cereal bag,
or a paper, or newspaper. It's amazing. It's amazing how much plastic we collect every day.
Those are those light plastics that we might think are just as disposable as can be, but there's a better way to dispose of them, and this is a good way there. So, Cindy, folks want to know more about that particular effort. They should email you or call you, or what's the best way?
That's also on our website, and that was indiana.palwv.org, I believe.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Ladies, we appreciate your time with us here this morning as we think more and more about the coming fall election and other issues. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And thank you
for giving
Todd.
us the time, Todd.
You betcha. Have a great weekend.
Really appreciate it.
Bye now.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160. AM 1160.